Clerk, has this meeting been properly noticed?
The meeting has been posted and noticed according to law.
Thank you. We'll start off with our new business for tonight, under 12A, approve the 2019 capital projects. And before we go into that, whoever is presenting, can you explain what that means?
Maybe a mark?
We are waiting for a member. Well, while we're waiting, I'll clarify. So I had the question of, are we approving the bond, the slate for bonding next meeting, or we said we are not? This is not bonding, even though the title of the agenda item is bonding. So that's what I need clarification on.
We are, I understand from the memo and the conversations with Mark is that we're moving forward to identify those projects of which will move forward to the preparation of the bonding process. The project, so last year, when the board finalized the 2018 budget, there were a number of projects that were discussed at that point in time that were included within a review sheet within the 2018 budget. Leanne has provided an update of those items relative to public works, and she has also provided an update with the item relative to the police facility.
So Mark, for clarification purposes, what we have in front of us is the projects that were identified for 2019 in the 2018 budget.
We have those projects listed, plus the inclusion of phase 2B of the police
Which was not.
facilities.
There was $625,000 identified for build out of the community space within the 2018 budget.
So to
But
put,
And quite honestly, I'm willing to say I think that's largely a communication challenge between the multiple iterations of this police build out. But nonetheless, it wasn't specifically identified as police renovations, it was public space, so that's why they're listed separately.
So what I'm struggling with is the 18 projects are not on here. They're just assumed to have moved forward.
Correct.
Okay, so all we're looking at is the ones that were identified for 19, even though we haven't bonded for either, correct?
Correct.
And for the police station, it is, we had 866,000 in the long-range plan for 18, and that included phase 2A. And we did not have 2B, which is the garage, in any of our documentation.
That sounds correct.
Continue, sorry. Do you want to say anything else?
No, staff is looking for commitments to proceed so we can prepare bond documents based on the approved projects contemplated for 2019 and make sure that we're still on track with the all of those and the proposed funding levels that was derived as part of, by and large, the 2018-2027 long-range plan.
Trustee Menti.
Have we been asked to approve anything about, has 2B of the police station come before us for any other action? I don't recall.
No.
No.
So you're asking us to make the decision now as to whether we're going to proceed with 2B. And we're doing that, given Riley's estimate there, because you're saying, do you want to bond for it? Tell us if you want to do this or not.
Well, phase 2B of the police facility's been integrated into a number of correspondence, none of which has asked for your specific approval, which is where we culminated tonight, is that discussion.
So just for clarification for the new trustees, this has been an ongoing project and the money has been shifting. So just for clarification purposes, the original estimate was 3.5 million. When we got the bidding back and things like that, it had gone up to 4.2 or somewhere around there. But we ran into a couple of other things that weren't anticipated, like the HVAC system, the roof, had to be replaced. And so all of it was going to fall under one lump sum, but we had to split it out into phases. And so what the police chief, with the help of the consultant, did was he allocated it into phase 1, which was the main building and purchasing. That encompassed all 3.5 million. Then the second and the only other thing that's ever been in the long-range plan for budgeting purposes was this 866. And because that only came to us about, 8 months ago or whenever it was, and said, because that's all we've budgeted to date anywhere, we would like to utilize that for the most important things, which was the finishing out the office space, doing the roof, and doing the HVAC system. So the last piece related to the police station, separate from the $500,000 estimate for community space, is the garage. And so I think last meeting, we had talked about this a little bit, and I asked, is it absolutely necessary? Do we need a garage, for this bonding cycle? And the answer was, we don't. Not absolutely. It's not an absolute need, but it's your call of when you want to bond for that. And so I think that's what you're asking today. Even though we're not talking about bonding, you're saying, do we want to fund the garage? And my only question on that was, where's the fire station? So doing both in the same year is it's not in any of this. And I understand we may not have to bond for the fire station if we sell, but if we keep it as our own, we may not have to bond anyways, but we might have to cover incremental costs if it's rehab versus reconstruction. And so one idea is to relabel that, because you can switch facilities, right? Once you bond, you can do anything, you can use it for any facility.
Well, the bonding authorization will come in a resolution for facilities improvements. So to that extent, funds not used for the contemplated police renovations of the garage could be applied to those,
For the fire station.
whatever that project may encompass. Yeah, I'm just not actually quite in the loop as where we stand on those deliberations, but.
Well, they're gonna happen next week, right? I mean, like, most of the costs.
Or, I always try to find a way to facilitate implementing the things that need to be implemented. And, when we have all those facts together, we could engage in an additional discussion on that.
So, Mike, I'm sorry, if anyone else has questions, just raise your hand and I'll call you guys first. All I'm saying is, from my perspective, and just giving comments here, is I don't want to do both in the same year. And so, is there a way to say, doesn't mean this is the will of the rest of the board, I'm just saying, is there a way to say, public facility, put in that money, and then make the decision of what needs to happen? I just feel the garage space, we've never really had that much garage space, right? So this is good, we need garage space eventually, but do we want to be doing 2 public safety projects simultaneously? I think the fire station is obviously a must, in my opinion. So is there a way to head it differently and accommodate that, if that's the will of the board, or is it one or the other?
It would be my strongest preference
Okay.
to bond for a specific project that we plan on implementing.
Okay.
and addressing the fire department as needed as a follow-up. But that being said, the board has some latitude in that. Should we bond for those funds and the board would choose to redirect those to other facilities?
So I'd hate that the fire station not go forward or something, and then we didn't specifically bond for police, because we thought we might need to do fire station. Anyways, I was just trying to find some flexibility. But thank you.
I have a question. In Chief's memo, he said requesting 926,000, and in the budget, it's a different.
Yeah, I apologize for that. We got the updated budget after I submitted the memo,
So
so.
you want the 1,116?
Yeah, just to clarify on that, I did talk with Riley about that number, and it's a really high level number due to the fact that he just doesn't know, with some of the engineering on the, of the garage. So he, suggesting at some point to get a, engineer out there to do that, and so that they can really confirm, the budget, narrow the budget down to a more specific, numbers, but he did say that that's a very high level budget. That's in your
It'll go
packet.
down, he said, or just high, it's just.
It's a high level, like a 30,000 view of, yeah. Again, I don't want to say that it's going to go down, but I would, that's the hope. But I've seen different things.
So similar to the fire station, we could say 3.3 million, we could put that bonding in right now, because that's a high level analysis. Is there, Mark, can we bond for a police station when we get better numbers?
We can, yes.
Any other questions? Trustee
Yeah,
Moore.
we borrow for the 1.1 sale. It doesn't come in that high, though that could be used for other facilities out in a couple of years.
Well, that would be an alternative approach, is to borrow the max number, and then if it comes in under budget, that inherently leaves funds for potentially the fire station to some degree, or other facilities improvements within 3 years of the bond issue date.
Trustee Mento.
I just, my concern about this is that we were told repeatedly that and I printed out from the meetings in 2016, that we paid $2.49 million for the building. Phase 1 was $1 million. Phase 2, which at that time was the entire rest of the police station part, was $866,000, for a total cost to purchase and remodel the building of $4.356 million. And we're now talking about $5.5 million.
Plus the community space of 5.
But that's not counting the community space, because it's another 1.1 million for the garage space. So I want, the newer trustees to understand that we're talking about a huge amount on top of what this board was originally apprised as what this project was going to be. And $1 million is a big chunk of change in terms of, that's more than our entire alley program for a year, which we only do every 2 years. So, and I have to say, $1 million for a garage, I have some nervousness about voting for that. I don't know if Riley can value engineer and maybe give us a $250,000 garage. $1 million for garage space. I have a hard time buying that myself. So, my vote is to not include this amount at this time.
Do we have designs or anything so we can make that evaluation? I'm sorry.
So I actually just recently did a tour of the police station, and we walked through sort of what that garage space would potentially look like, and it is a very expensive number, especially knowing, kind of everything before that. So, I mean, I see both sides of the project, and, but I guess my question is, if we don't move forward with this, what happens? Like,
We
where do
reevaluate
we,
next year.
and we just park vehicles and all of that outside for one winter, and then we decide if it's something that could happen, something that we fund the following year?
Correct. Trustee McKay.
Another consideration, one of the benefits of, one of the ways that the previous facility did not meet our needs is because it did not have garage space. And if you think about the amount of money that tax money that we have invested in the fleet of patrol cars, not having, they don't last as long if they're parked outside over the winter and all that, there's extra wear and tear. So that is another consideration. I mean, obviously, we can do it for less than